Across the country, the numbers of students opting to take geography is falling. Over the last few years, fewer and fewer students are choosing to study geography. At Harlington Upper School, they are bucking the trend. But just how do you improve the status and popularity of geography?
F-I-C-I.
At Harlington Upper School, 2/3 of their students take GCSE and they have a thriving and successful A-level course.
Look at it a minute.
I think it's perceived as a soft option now. I don't think so many people... Again, I think it's an academia thing, isn't it? A lot of parents want children to do further maths and physics, or they want their students to go down a vocational route, or they want their students to go down an arts route. And geography kind of falls in the middle of that. Obviously, in GCSE options, we're always up against other humanities subjects like history, business studies, RE, sociology, things like that. So you always fight in your corner, hoping that... It shouldn't be like a battle, should it? It shouldn't be like that. We're offering things to students and we should offer them the best option, but of course at the end of the day we're sort of trying to preserve your job at the end of the day, aren't you, and keep groups and keep numbers high, and trying to encourage as many students to love the subject that I love so much, and trying to get as many students into this subject that I want to do, and trying to impart and enthuse them in the same way that I suppose I was enthused as a student myself.
I first met Thomas many years ago when he was in my class.
She was my form teacher when I was 14. Because I came to school here, I'm a student here.
A few years later, the headmaster's calling me and saying we've had this application for a head teacher job here, for a geography job here.
She was one of the teachers, I suppose, that you look back and say, somebody you remember as being an excellent teacher when you were here as a student, and made an impression on me as a geographer and as a teacher and as a person.
And Thomas Rowell is his name. And he said, I don't suppose you remember him, do you? And I said, very much so.
She was the head of geography when I started as an NQT 4 years ago, and since then, of course, she's become an advanced skills teacher and I've been able to run the department.
I would like to think the AST as an advanced skills teacher strengthens the department because it means that I'm able to visit other schools, taking the skills and knowledge I have from here and dispersing that in other schools, but also I can go to other schools and bring back to here new information and skills from them. So it allows this sharing and caring for students to carry on. Every hand needs to be up. Tell me what irrigation is. Okay, go on, we'll start with you, Matt, go on.
Large-scale watering of crops.
Large-scale watering of crops. Then what we're talking about, answering this question here, should we modify climate?
Thomas Rowell believes many of the children opt for geography because the department has good teachers.
Us and do what we want. If it doesn't suit what we want in society, should we modify it? And irrigation was one method. Made 2 excellent appointments here in the department this year. We knew both of them, one of whom was actually a student teacher trained here last year under the school-centred initial teacher training. What did we say about California, irrigation in California? What was the word we used? High cost, and the actual technical language for that? It was capital intensive. It's intensive, in other words, you have to put a lot of money in it. So hydroponics and a lot of these things are capital intensive. A-level, we tend to get very good results. At GCSE we did get very good results up until a couple of years ago, where our results are still above national average but not as high as I would like them to be. 8 out of 10 of them get between an A and a C in the at A-level. Nobody's failed A-level or AS geography for about 4 or 5 years now. This is fascinating stuff, this is really cutting edge. Citrus orchards and methods of stopping frost. But you didn't think you'd be doing that today, would you, really? No, or wish you weren't, actually. I think they know if they do geography, they're going to have a good time, they're going to have enjoyment, and they know the teaching is going to be good quality here. They know they're going to do lots of different things, the lessons are going to be fun, but they know that they're going to get the results at the end of the day. And
you enjoy going to the lessons, you enjoy coming up to the department, and you enjoy spending time with the teachers and the other people that are studying geography.
I think too it's the relationship with the students. We trust them. We encourage them to work hard, we help them with their target setting, and they know they can come up on the 4th floor whenever and get any help from any one of us, and I think they appreciate that too, so that's another reason why we're strong.
I personally think it's all to do with communication. I think there's a lot of communication between the teachers. They all know how the other teachers teach. They all know what the other teachers are teaching at any particular time in the year. You can go to one and you can say, can you help me with this? And they'll be able to help you.
Being very well organised, having schemes of work, lesson plans, homework plans, all things written down so that wherever you are, you know exactly where you're going to move towards next. And everything has a time plan, so if you get out of step, you've got to hurry up, catch up, so that you're up with everybody else.
Geography is good because you can do map work and you can do field work, which is good because you get to go on more trips.
Most students would say one of the reasons why they do geography is because we go on field trips, and they actually say field trips rather than field work. It's not till they've been on an experience with us that they then turn around and say, we enjoyed the field work. It is work, but I think it's good fun. They love it outside. There's lots of practical learning by doing, and it suits many students. As a result, we have field work at each level, year 9, 10, 11 and 12.
But no, it is good to get out and you get to meet, it's just really casual, and you get to sort of talk to your teachers about the subject as well while you're out there and things.
Well, I'm looking forward to the trip next week, though.
Yeah, we've got a trip next week.
From what I've heard, it's meant to be quite good. Last year, I believe Miss Brazier fell down a sand dune.
That was Mr. Rao.
Oh, Mr. Rao.
But I've already been on the field trip, and although you get wet, you get tired, it's windy, it's cold, you look back, when you've come back, you look back on it and you think, actually, it was a fantastic 3 days. You learn a lot about yourself on geography field trips, and that's something that you don't do in other subjects.
Can't teach geography without doing field work. It defines the geography department, really. I think it does help us to recruit. It does help us to maintain numbers. Students do choose AS Geography because they know they think they're going to get a holiday in Norfolk. They realise that it's 4 days being cold and freezing, standing in the middle of a river. But it's great. You speak to students who have come through the system. The friends they make when they're on fieldwork, the friends they make when they're doing their coursework, and things like that are just the friends that stay with them for many years.
Well, I think one of the reasons why it's popular is because the group of teachers who teach it get on so well with each other, and I think that team ethic is the one to try and work towards. Not only do we work together here well, but often, because we go away on field trips, we know each other really well.
How do we intend to maintain the numbers anyway to sort of keep them sustainable?
Well, you don't want to lose any staff.
You're right, that's the problem at the end of the day. Well, we have to diversify our subjects, our curriculum, hence delivering leisure and tourism to year 10, next year will be year 11. Looking at environmental science in sixth form, teaming up with the science department on that, delivering an AS in environmental science, but also really continuing to sell and to flog this subject to death to these kids to show them what they can get out of it.
Geography is good because you get to learn different countries, where different countries are, and what people do in different countries.
And that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Other people might not think so, but I certainly think so, yeah.
We work quite hard, I think, in a very subtle way, in sowing the seeds into the minds of the Year 9 students as they come in. And start very gradually, like in the first few lessons, start talking about how they enjoy geography. We work on a sort of word of mouth basis.
Part of their strategy of spreading the word about geography is to encourage sixth form students to give up their study period to help younger students with their work.
Both Lisa and Michael come to Year 9 lessons. I help individual students or help me with a particular project. They're a useful pair of hands, but they're more than that. And I'm hoping that they have as much of a positive experience as I do when they're in the classroom.
I think it's good for them to see someone older that's enthusiastic about the subject as well.
When I was in year 11 doing my coursework, Hannah actually came into our class and helped us all out with our coursework because she'd done it, and no other subject do that, but they're really involved in students helping students as well as teacher led.
We do work hard at it. I think it's generally the best way to do it is picking it on the kids and picking out the kids that you think geography is going to suit them, that it's the best thing for them. Because at the end of the day, that's our job, is to advise young people on what is the best sort of course for their lives. And if geography is part of that, then, you know, that's our job to highlight that, isn't it, really?
Do you think it's important to learn about people and places? Well, yeah, kind of do, because you need to know what's going on in the world, and if you want to make a change in the world, then it's what you can aspire to do when you're older.
What have they done? How did they manage to irrigate the California...
The department feels that another strength lies in seeing beyond academic qualifications. In Year 11, Thomas has taken the weakest students into a smaller group. They will not take the GCSE, but an entry-level qualification.
Thank you, Adam. You're not Adam, he's Adam. Okay. Crisis of identity. And realising that perhaps at the end of the day there are more important things than getting a GCSE in geography. We're so driven by tables and data and so on. Whereas actually for some of these students, giving them the opportunity to learn skills like note-taking, or getting them learning social skills like working in a group and not settling everything with violence is quite an important thing. But to get them in a room and try to show them different ways of coping with situations and social skills as much as anything, really. I mean, even in that group there, that group we taught earlier, one of those lads, I went to Tenerife on holiday, you know. It was volcanoes and it was amazing, you know. He saw this like lava flow and they were really, you could see he was excited by what he'd seen, and he wanted to tell me when he got back that he'd seen this. And he's not the easiest of students to teach all the time, and he was excited by it and he wanted to tell us about it. It was really good. What else have they done? Anybody look at the bullet points at the bottom of that page, please. Go, come on. I think geography will give those students a real sort of multiplicity of skills that perhaps they can use in work, in employment, at college if they need it. Network of pipelines. Now, I reckon you might be able to perhaps do a little sketch of this if you work in pictures. Out of an A-level group of about 30, 40, you kind of, I don't know, we normally get 5 or 10 going off to do geography out of that, I think, which is I'm quite pleased with, really. Quite pleased with that. If we can maintain that, it's really good. And we've got students from this school who have gone on working for United States Geological Service. We've got people working for the government. We've got people working in planning consultancies up and down the country. We've got people doing real life geography in real jobs.
I think what makes an interest lessons, we get to like stand up and like ask other people geography questions, debate, and sort of like make posters and like do massive projects on things like globalisation and global warming.
It's because geography is always changing, and we can't trawl out the same old stuff that we've done year after year. I'd get bored out of my mind, quite frankly, and it keeps us on our toes, it keeps the kids on our toes, but it means that we are providing a really up-to-date, because the geography is about the world we live in, it's about the impact that humans make in their environment, and that humans are always changing the way they impact their environment. The environment's constantly changing, so we need to keep that up to date, and we need to keep that as modern and as contemporary as we can make it, really. Just been reminded that California just had a big earthquake there last week. So it's an area that is quite a lot in the news, something that you need to keep your eyes on, the news, guys. Believe it yourself and really feel it, and love it yourself, really. Have a love for the world, have a love for different people, different groups of people, physical processes, landscapes, these amazing things that people spend thousands and thousands of pounds going to see around the world. These are the things that make people happy, these are the things that make people kind of excited about the world. And that's what we've got to try and get across, really.